What's up, everybody? Today we are going to be pulling this transmission out of this Buick Lucern. As you can see, transmission damage. So we're going to be pulling the transmission out of this thing. So the night before, I did some work to the upper part of it, as you can see. This is a 2007 Buick Lucern 3.8 liter. That's a 4-speed automatic GM transmission. As you can see, I pulled some bell housing bolts. That little circle down there that I'm pointing at, that is a bell housing bolt hole where I had pulled some bolts out the night before, and I had chained this motor up. This motor has 2 hoists on the front and the back. There's one right there and there's one right there, and it's spectacular. They just hold up the motor, and you got this upper mount over here, but this one is all to shit, so it's not going to do a damn thing for me. Yeah, it didn't do anything. So we replaced that nonetheless, but so we got that. But I had some stands, so no fear. The engine's not falling out of this thing. So I'm pulling the transmission pan now. The transmission is bad. It had no forward movement in this vehicle. This is a 4T65E transmission, whatever that means. It's a GM transmission. I already mentioned that. It's 4-speed automatic. I already mentioned that. But I'm pulling the pan on this thing, letting it drain out, and you're going to see why right here. There's a broken forward band. That's why we had no forward movement. That is a little band that holds a piece in that transmission that enables the forward movement of the car. So if that band is broken, then there's no forward movement, so you can't drive. This thing had great reverse, no forward movement. So that little band breaks, and you got to take the whole transmission out, take it all apart, put that band in, put it all back together, make sure everything moves and it's in the right spot, and put it back in the car. So that's what we're in the process of doing. Right now I just took some axle nuts loose from the hubs of the wheels. Now, right now I'm going to be taking some ball joints loose here. Not that you care. You probably don't care. You're just watching this video because it's very interesting to watch somebody take apart a car in 10 minutes. This whole process of taking out this transmission probably took me about an hour, which is pretty fast considering the labor time for this job calls for 8 hours. That is remove and install. So 4 hours in, 4 hours out. So this is a 4-hour removal technically. And I'm knocking it down to 1 hour. I think the install, I did not film the install unfortunately, but I will on another one. I got plenty of them to look at and for you to watch me pull out and work on. You know, this is just as interesting. Still taking these ball joints loose. These ball joints are a pain in the ass, man. You got to wrench them out with the open end of the wrench. That's all you can fit in there. So then I take this cool little tool called an air hammer, and it's got a what do you call that tool? It's a pickle fork. It's got a pickle fork on it, and it pops them ball joints right out of there. So now I got them ball joints loose. I'm gonna take the pry bar and pry it down. Ooh, pry that control arm down and get that ball joint out of there. Now I'm trying to get that axle out. That axle's in there pretty tight. Where did he go? Oh, there he is with the air hammer again. And I just air hammered that thing right out of there, and then I pried it out and came right out of there. That axle's pretty easy. That was an axle, for those that don't know. That was a CV axle. Continuously variable axle is what they call that. Taking this ball joint out and popping that axle out. This one's a little more difficult to pry away from the transmission. As you can see, the whole time this is happening, I'm just letting the transmission drain. I'm trying to get as much fluid out of that transmission before I put it on the bench and take it all apart as possible. It makes it much less of a mess. Oh, and there goes the axle. Great catch by the floor. Yeah, and didn't break anything, so it's all good. Don't worry. No axles were harmed in the making of this video. We did not have to buy an axle. It's all good. So now you see I got that engine stand under there already. I'm just trying to make sure once I take this frame down, I'm going to be taking the entire front subframe of the car down. You have to do that to get these transmissions out. It's not too hard to do though. It is the most difficult part of this job, but I would not say this is the most difficult frame I've removed. They're pretty easy, pretty simple. tying the power steering rack up. The power steering rack is in the back of that frame, and it's what controls the steering, and it's connected to your steering wheel through a shaft that goes through the floorboard. And if that shaft slides out of the other end of the steering wheel, basically, the steering column that's down at the bottom of your floorboard, if it slides out of that and your steering wheel comes loose in the car, and you got to try to line those splines back up on that steering column and that power steering shaft, it's just going to have your steering all out of whack. I mean, you're going to be driving down the road and the steering wheel is going to be like tilted all the way at 9 and 6 o'clock, whatever, no, not 9 and 6 o'clock, but 12 and 6. That's what it's going to be like. But anyways, so that's why you tie that power steering rack up in the back, pulling this frame down, prying it, getting it down whatever way I can. Just gotta. There's a ton of things attached to this, and there's a bunch of power steering lines, brake lines. There's even an ABS module attached to it right up here in the corner. So if you see me beating on something, I'm beating on that 4x4 that I'm supporting the frame with, that's just resting on a transmission jack. That's how I'm performing this operation right now. This is a one-man show. Did this by myself on a Saturday, mind you. Nobody else is in the shop at this point. If the volume was able to be played, you would be hearing probably some Drake or J. Cole and me singing it, but we're going to spare you of that and just watch the cool details of me removing this frame. This is probably the most interesting part of this video, to be honest. I mean, it is pretty cool to watch me just literally take this shell of a frame down that is supporting the entire powertrain of that vehicle, and it is tied to every aspect of that vehicle. Right there, I'm taking the last line loose that I finally got it loose, and it's finally coming down. The entire metal frame. This is actually a steel frame, and we're gonna drop it down here. Now, how we usually get it off is usually you need another person to pick the other side of the frame up to get it off the jack. But I get a little bit creative. You can see me thinking here. I'm like, all right, how the hell am I gonna get this thing off? I'm like, well, what if I just, oh, there you go. All right, now kick that jack to the side, and then we'll just set it on the ground. All right, we're good to go. Ready to rock, buddy. So, yeah, that's how I did it. Just slid it right off the jack. Now I'm going to move the camera. Look, so now I just got it sitting on the floor. Now we're just going to play a game here. All right, we're going to play a game of shuffle. We're going to play a game of weight shuffle with the transmission and the motor. Now, I wish I could have got the shot of the transmission and the motor in this too. I should have rolled it back just a tad bit farther so you could see what I'm doing with the transmission and the motor right here. I'll probably just edit this out, so I'm just going to say whatever the fuck I want. Nope, never mind. Here we go. All right, and we're back. So now I finally got it right. Transmission and the motor. Getting supported, finally got it right. Now what I did is just took another stand, kicked that frame to the side, picked my other stand back up, so my transmission, my motor still supported, and I didn't have to rest on those chains for more than like 2 seconds. So we're all good. Feel more comfortable with that. Now we're going to get a jack underneath of it and yank this bad boy out. Actually, I think I got a few more things to do, a few more small things, but I might edit it out later. Who knows? Who cares? Now you got about 2 minutes left of this video. If you've been watching this long, you're going to want to watch the rest of this video anyway. So you might as well just stick around and watch me pull this starter out. Bam, there's one side of the bolt. Oh, yep, there we go. And then, bam, other starter bolt. And then we're going to pop it. Yep, there it goes. Starter's gone. Look at that. Now we got torque converter bolts. There's one. Did I get it out? Don't think I did. I gotta turn it. Hold on. Wait. There we go. Alright, see that torque converter turn? I just turned the crank. Alright, good. Torque converter bolt's out. That wiring harness right in the way. There we go. You can see that one. Torque converter bolt out. There's only 3 of these things, so don't worry. It's not gonna last long. We're almost there. There we go. Bam. Torque converter bolt out. Oh, there we're done. Alright, so we had to unbolt the torque converter from the flywheel. That's what we were doing there, in case you were wondering. Now, I spared you a lot of the other boring stuff here, so we're going to get right to it. We're going to yank this bad boy out. We're taking this puppy out, and I'm getting to this last bell housing bolt. There's 2 more bell housing bolts, and there it is. I already got it out. Look at that. I'm pretty quick. Pretty darn good. Oh, drop the camera there. Don't worry about that. We're going to get it right. All right. So now I'm going to show you the last bell housing bolt. If I can get the camera set up. Look at that ABS module sitting right there. It's a perfect place for it. All right. There's the bell housing bolt right there. Okay, there it's gone. All right, that's it. Okay. Now, wait for the best shot of it all, and I did a horrible job. And please forgive me. I will work on my camera work. This is a horrible shot. It's out of focus. I should have looked at it before I yanked this unit down, but there it is. It's coming down. And you see the motor hanging up there. Got the stand underneath of it though, so no worries. And there's the transmission. Good old GM 4-speed front wheel drive transmission. Had no forward just because of a band breaking in this thing. Common problem. So you gotta take it all apart. And what I mean by band is this. That's a band that holds a drum down inside of there. And that piece broke off of that band, disabling it from working, and without that band you can't go forward. So I took it apart, put that band back in there, fixed it up, and it's driving. It's back in the car, and the car is driving down the road now. So I'm gonna do more videos like this. Hope you enjoyed it. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me and comment any questions. Thank you for watching.